Okay. Yesterday, chat, I uploaded a video titled Infinity Nikki has destroyed their game and players are furious. After posting this video, I've had, well, there are 453 comments, but there have been over a dozen comments here that have been left telling me that what Infinity Nikki did is perfectly acceptable and they are in full support of it. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Stix, what did they do? What did they do to upset you so much? You'd claim that they destroyed their game. Let me get into that. Here is a Reddit thread that documents everything. That documents more than my video actually documented because I didn't have all of this information. Infinity Nikki, an absolute torrential meltdown due to Infold's abhorrent anti-consumer practices. I want to give a bit of context to the previous post regarding the apology because Infinity Nikki, the official Twitter account, made an apology for what happened. So 1.5 released and Infinity Nikki decided they're going to stealth change the pity for the outfits. So up until this point, there were like 8 to 10 outfit pieces, and the cumulative total of that was, I believe, 180. Now, after this update, they released for the very first time an expanded set piece outfit, 2, I believe, actually, that increased the total to acquire all pieces to 220. So they stealth increased the pity from 180 to 220. People were outraged. There was an event that lasts 14 days that free-to-play players use to earn free-to-play currency. They decided, you know what? We're gonna extend this beyond 14 days so you earn less revenue and are then more encouraged to instead purchase premium currency. So not only would you have to pay more for the outfits, but you'd have to pay more to even just earn free currency. You'd earn less, which means that if you wanted to actually do shit, you'd have to pay. Now, those were the two biggest issues that people had. They issued an apology where they went over completely meaningless shit. And then right at the bottom, they had this section here where they said, well, I mean, this was an entire paragraph, several entire paragraphs talking about how incredible their new outfits are. And then all the way down the bottom, they say, we apologize for the lack of prior communication regarding this adjustment of the pity. Moving forward, we guarantee that the number of pieces will not exceed 11. So we guarantee that we will not stealth increase it again in the future. And they also point out that major changes will be communicated in advance because they didn't. They just assumed people would pay 220 or pay to hit 220 and just take it, that they wouldn't question it, even though they never addressed it. It was absolutely ridiculous. So that's the video I did. Players were livid. The game released onto Steam. It did terribly. It had was sitting at like 57% positive, so almost 50% negative. That is crazy. And that's because apparently, yes, the devs get even scummier. They actually get even scummier. Let me show you why that is. You genuinely will not believe this. But when they were preparing to release onto Steam, they had a wishlist campaign going. So on the left, you'll see the campaign had right here, if you reached 100,000 wish lists, you would get a free 10 pull. After they reached 100,000 wish lists, over there, they changed it to 2 pulls. At 100,000, now you only get 2 pulls. To get the remaining 8 pulls, all the way over on the right, you now need to wish list all the way to 200,000. So this is what they promised. Free 10 pull at 100K, and what players got was a free 2 pull. 2, not 10, 2. And they've said if you want your 10 pull, you need to double those numbers. That is absurd. Genuinely fucked up. Absolutely. That is beyond greedy. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. We're gonna go ahead here and go through everything they did wrong piece by piece because there is a lot, chat. Although before that, real quick, I do want to point out that Infinity Nikki advertised itself as a cozy open world RPG, and I made a tweet about this. So this is what they were before. This is literally what they defined their game as, a cozy open world game. I'm sure a lot of you remember this. Now this right here is what they defined themselves as. Just a cross-platform open world RPG. They've apparently ditched the whole cozy open world game altogether. They have relabeled themselves to distance themselves from what they were advertising themselves as originally. Now, oh god, let's go ahead here and see everything that they did wrong. Beginning with the Steam Wishlist rewards. They promised 10 polls for hitting 100K, with a follow-up surprise reward for hitting 200K instead. They retroactively changed the 100,000 to 2 polls and made 200,000 10 polls, completely removing the original surprise reward. The community lost their fucking minds, and after a day of rioting, they folded and gave the 10 polls plus an additional 10 polls as a reward for hitting 200K. People were very unhappy with the longest patch so far being the patch with the least amount of content. Version 1.5 was teased along with Sea of Stars, which is a core aspect of Nikki games. People were super excited. The art looked amazing. They're going to allow people customization via dyeing to let you change the colors of all your outfits. Sentiment is at an all-time high after the developer livestream. People are hyped as hell for 1.5. Unfortunately, as the data miners get to work, some very concerning things are coming to light, namely that the two new 5-star banners will be 11 pieces each. Previously, most 5-star outfits have been 8 to 10, with one 11-star outfit in the very first banner. It takes 20 pulls to get one 5-star piece, so bumping the outfit count from 9 to 10 to 11 is each a 20 pull increase to max pity. People cope, saying, those are just data miners, it won't be like that. Surely they wouldn't do that, right, chat? Sentiment is still high, people are still excited. And now comes launch day. Absolute fucking mayhem. The entire launch is an absolute disaster from every angle, whether it's monetization, design, stability, you name it. PS5 players are locked out completely. Most mobile players are as well. Those that can get into the game are faced with a black screen or a crash. You can't actually make any progress. PC players are able to get in and play, but everything is an absolute mess. You're dumped immediately into an unskippable tutorial sequence. Everything is a glitchy, laggy mess. Eventually, you get dropped into the fabled Sea of Stars, except there's no content. And the very small tasks to do work are also a glitchy mess. Did I mention there was a huge co-op update? You're supposed to be able to optionally interact with other players in the Sea of Stars, except there is a buggy disaster that doesn't work. On the lore front, and this is where things get really bad, chat. Genuinely really bad. The entire story of the game was retconned. That means changed, removed, deleted, incinerated, eviscerated. Whereas before, you were isekai'd into this fantasy world thanks to your mother's old dress, as well as a mysterious connection to a woman named Aina. You are now in a multiversal slopfest. All the previous intro stories have been removed for new players. Everyone is now part of this multiversal Nikki-verse Nikki-verse is trying to prevent the end of the universe. No context, no elaboration, no explanation. You're just dumped into this retcon as soon as you open the game. Apparently, you've already destroyed the world and now you're going back in time to save it or something. Now, I have a comparison here, apparently, of the before and after. This is a comparison of the old tutorial with the new tutorial. So, with the original, what the fuck are they doing? I have no idea. So in the original, you started off in an attic, you made your way to the wardrobe, and you passed through it, right? It was sick, it was magical. You saw Aina, she was in chains. Let me show you the intro, okay? Let me show you. So here you start off in the original. Going up, you see the dress, you're in the attic. It's beautifully pre-rendered. You see this gorgeous dress. You touch it, it gropes you, it dances with you, you put it on. You end up in this beautiful world. You start moving around, you're introduced to this beautiful world. There's this cordoned off area, more beautiful areas to explore. And then you make it to this castle, this cathedral, and you get this beautiful cinematic cutscene where you see this chick chained up like this. Again, it's cinematic, it looks incredible, right? It's a little kinky, a little messed up, right? And look at her. Look how good she looks as a character. So after that, you continue to get a beautiful cutscene, beautifully pre-rendered. All this shit happens, it looks sick. And then you end up wherever this is, in some kind of ruin? Okay, that is the intro. Here is the new intro. So now, This is her. This is the intro. This is her. This whole like her being chained up thing. Instead of that, you get this. This is what you get. You run around ever so slightly, and you just talk to her in a completely stationary cutscene. That's it. And that was it. That was the whole thing. You talk to her briefly. She walks in a straight line. The character models look like shit. It's not a beautiful cinematic that's all dark and messed up. Nope, and then that's it. That's the whole intro. This is genuinely the whole intro. You went from this insane cinematic experience to, let's just quickly skip through it in 2 minutes. You literally killed all that time. Mrs. Stix was enthralled with this game based off of the intro. So her first appearance, then verse now. The sequence of events that transpire, very different. Just standing around casually talking. You had a whole cutscene of her giving you the heart of infinity. Here, now, she just passes you. She's like, all of these things have been changed. It's crazy. You just end up randomly in front of the stylist guild. No context whatsoever. And then they decide, after that, they're gonna remove the entire, like, intro cinematic, too, that shows you the entirety of the game, all the beautiful vistas and landscapes, the outfits, the characters and everything. It's literally, they just removed all of it. And they were like, yeah, that's better. That's better. Who would do that? Like, genuinely. A group of people, chat, sat down and thought that that was a good idea. Let's continue. On the monetization front, indeed, both banners are 11 pieces, meaning pity is at 220. That's only for the base outfit plus 1 recolor. To get the final evolution of the outfit, you need to pull the entire outfit again, meaning 440 pulls, chat. 440 pulls. That's not obscene at all. But it doesn't stop there. They added a more paid items, they're just decorations, meaning that you can't even equip them. They added a bathtub that they marked up to $70 and then slapped a 79% discount tag on it to pretend they're selling you a deal at $10. Mind you, there is no housing system yet where you can actually even use the bathtub, so players are furious. They keep trying to sell these decoration cosmetics that have barely any usage. At this point, the game feels like a generic Chinese gacha clone. You know, the ones with 90% tags slapped on everything? Oh, this package was originally $999,999. Great value. Yep, look at that. Look at that. This was originally $73, but with a discounted price, a discount of 79%, you can get it for $14.98. There's a limit of 1 though. Get it while you can before the price is hiked up to $73. There is no competitor for this right now, so they can do whatever they want, and unfortunately, the players will just accept it. Oh my god. The hyped dyeing system has 90% of the palette colors locked behind a new currency. The only source for this currency is from the monthly shop, which is super limited. You wouldn't be able to unlock every palette for one 5-star event or outfit, even if you saved this monthly currency for a year. The dyeing palettes must be unlocked for each piece at a time instead of the whole outfit, and the most desirable colors, the pink and blacks, are locked to 5-star outfits only. The palettes for a 4-star and a 5-star outfit are far more restrictive, but they also require premium currency to unlock. Of course, the only other way to get the palette currency is through real money. So they implement the dyeing system, and most free-to-play players are barely going to be able to make use of it unless they spend money or wait years. Yep, no, you gotta love when they implement systems that only paying players can use in your free-to-play game, chat, right? The endgame contest originally was promised to run every 14 days. This is the biggest source of income for free-to-play players. They have been steadily creeping up the length of time each contest runs, directly reducing the income for all players because they don't care about free players. They just want you to spend money. 1.5 was going to have the biggest length of time for each stage until they slightly backtracked with their apology below. The apology gave a half-baked non-apology, saying 11 pieces were necessary to expand the design of the dresses, but they promise they won't do 12 or more unless they do. Wink, wink. But we promise to tell you first if we want to screw the fans over again. For endgame contest cycle, their apology says they'll make it bi-monthly every 16 days, which is still worse than the originally promised 14-day cycle. Anything to fuck the players, even in their apology. Both the Chinese and global community are in absolute meltdown mode. Boycotts, riots, you name it. I'm sure I've missed a bunch of stuff, but at this point, the gaming community is just an absolute shambles. Every other post on the Infinity Nikki subreddit is just outrage, and that is entirely warranted. That is obnoxiously bad, chat. This is genuinely, like, people give Hoyo crap, right? They give them flack for being predatory, but Infinity Nikki is genuinely greedy and stupid. The devs, like, I cannot believe that Hoyo just lost the greediest dev award of the year. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.